Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. I loved my day off. Thank you guys so much for being understanding. I hope that all my new subscribers took that day and the time to go back and watch my older videos, maybe binge watch and catch up. We're starting off with this picture that was taken by Debbie Parker, which captures the exact moment a lightning strike hit a tree in Moorefield, Hardy County, West Virginia on June 23rd, 2022. This has to be one of the most beautiful photos I've ever seen and just shows the power of nature. All right. We have a lot to cover, especially since I took a day off. So for those of you who really like long videos, you're getting your wish. For those who hate long videos, I'm sorry. There's just so much. It's like, oh my God. Once again, Charles and Camilla, Anne, Harry and Meghan, William, there's stories, there's a lot of controversy. So there's nothing we can do but just try to put it in some semblance of order and go through it all. So let's just jump in and get there, shall we? Because there's so much. And I'd like to add also that the first few stories, I'm looking at the comments that you all left on my Twitter account under the stories, or on my YouTube account, under the stories. So let's just get there. Okay, let's go. We are going to start off today with Paddington the bear, who apparently was dancing on a train platform with Catherine. I believe this is when Catherine was pregnant with George. That's how old these pictures are. But she looks like, she enjoyed it, and Paddington happens to be an excellent dancer. All right, let's move on. Okay, I want to throw these in here also. These were sent to me by one of my Twitter followers. Apparently, there is some sort of a commercial as well showing the bears going through Heathrow. That's a real tearjerker. Oh my goodness. Okay, now we can move on. Princess Beatrice went to the Glastonbury Music Festival with her husband. I'm just going to call him Edo. It's a music festival. They both looked very happy and relaxed and enjoying themselves. Good for them. That color looks really good on her too. I just noticed. All right, moving on. You guys remember I posted the video of Catherine with the baby? Watch this. A lot of people sent me comments. Yes, I understand. William was trying to get Kate away from the baby because she gets broody and she wants another one. And I think he's like done. He doesn't want any more. But Pico noticed that. William touching Catherine on the side to remind her, give back the baby. Absolutely. All right, moving on. Next up, remember I showed you the official portrait of Catherine and William that's going to be hanging for hundreds of years. Wherever it's hanging, it's going to move around. Probably end up at the palace. But the point is, 100 years from now, people are still going to be looking at this photo. And you guys made an actual comment that really caught my attention. BJ Brown pointed out that Harry and Meghan now are probably going to hire someone to paint their larger-than-life, one-of-a-kind picture. And Jack's mama pointed out that there's no canvas big enough for her ego. And It's Just Me said, that was my thought when I first saw the portrait. Meghan Markle and Harry must be furiously scanning the yellow pages for a portrait painter. You know what? I completely agree. I'm sure very soon we're going to see an official portrait that was painted that they commissioned. You watch. All right, moving on. All right, next up we have the whole Roe versus Wade thing. And my whole point in bringing this up was to point out the fact that Meghan claims to be a feminist. If she's a feminist and this is going on, why isn't she speaking out? That was my whole point. And instead, some of my followers made some comments that really puzzled me. This first comment, I'm sorry I cannot pronounce that, asked how the LGBT community was impacted, and I've yet to hear about a gay or lesbian couple accidentally getting pregnant. It's not a question of accidentally getting pregnant. They could be pregnant, there could be something wrong with the baby, and the baby's not going to survive. Maybe it puts the mother's life at risk, and she won't be allowed to abort. There you go. So this person told me to stay in my lane and keep talking about royals, not politics. Then she said if Meghan made a statement, I'd be crapping on her, so I should be consistent. That's not true. Next up, this particular follower is Hayes White, who tried to turn it into a racial issue. We have 4 abortion clinics. We're destroying the lives of black babies. I just unsubscribed from your channel. Why is it when people unsubscribe, they have to announce it? Why can't you just go? Black babies matter too. When did I say that black babies didn't matter? I will not tolerate anybody accusing me of racism because Meghan Markle didn't make a statement on women's rights and she claims to be a feminist. So Hayes White, don't worry about ever coming back because you're banned. You are a Shola wannabe, a Nadine White wannabe, and I won't tolerate that on my channel. And finally, Reader said, I'm a fan, but don't bring the left-wing talking points into your videos. Society is inundated with Democrats crap, and I watch your videos to avoid this. You guys, I really was just trying to point out that this is a massive thing going on in the United States, and Meghan claims to be a feminist, and she's made no statement about it. That was my entire point, all right? Okay, let's move on. Next up, there was a comment put by somebody named Mrs. Donnelly that said, it is too hard to believe that Harry asked people in Ukraine to send him video footage of war. I just can't believe that. So with that, I'm going to go to the article that was sent to me that really explains the timeline of everything so that you guys have a full understanding of what happened, okay? So let's just look at that for 2 seconds. So we all know that in the media, there's been a lot of talk that Netflix Invictus documentary, Heart of Invictus, that Harry is quote unquote producing, has something to do with the release of a Ukrainian civil paramedic named Yulia. I'm not even going to try to say her last name. And that Netflix gave her a body cam to use for the documentary. And so here is what is actually being reported so that you guys understand the timeline. What this article is alleging is that Netflix did give this woman a camera in 2021 to record behind the scenes footage, but she didn't use it the way they wanted her to use it. She used it instead to document the atrocities in the Ukraine. So we know that she was captured. We know that there was an exchange. We know that she smuggled the camera footage out in a tampon because she wanted everybody to know what was really going on with the war and to see the atrocities, that were being heaped upon the people there. What this article is saying is that Netflix, in struggling for their content for Harry, they supposedly gave cameras to a lot of the Invictus participants in 2021 to film their training and behind the scenes look at how they get ready for the games. And this woman took the camera and instead used it a different way, okay? She didn't use it the way Netflix expected her to use it. The daughter of this woman, who was on TV begging for the mother's release, did meet with Harry and Meghan, and that was filmed by the Netflix crew in The Hague. It's all on camera. You're going to see it in the Heart of Invictus if you watch it. I love what it says at the end of the article. It's just so spot on that the world might be on the brink of a world war, and the world doesn't need Harry and Netflix escalating things by poking the Russians, especially when he's still using and abusing a royal title. You guys should absolutely read this article. It's fabulous. It's called, the name of it is Harry, Netflix, Invictus, and Ukraine. And talking about the Ukraine, in typical Harry Meghan fashion, they can't just do stuff. They have to make sure that every time they do anything, they put out an announcement so that you know that they've done stuff. That's how they get you to just love them. And they want you to know that they made donations to 6 frontline charities. Okay, how much did you give? Because if they gave $500 to each charity, that would be like me with my income giving, a quarter. They never tell anybody how much money they're giving. I always find that very suspicious. All right, moving on. All right, really quick. Remember when I showed you Catherine's suit and how tailored it was? And I kept saying, why didn't Meghan tailor her suit? Doesn't she know about tailoring? I think we now know why she didn't tailor it. After all, she was doing another Diana copy thing, and Diana's suit was a certain size, and so Meghan made sure that hers was a certain size. Unbelievable. All right, moving on. Next up, it was Armed Forces Day, and on that day, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge put up a tribute to the people in the armed forces. I love this. It reads so nicely: at sea, on land, in the air, in the UK, around the world. And then they put up photos of Catherine. They posted photos of Catherine that were taken the year before when she went to visit the British Army to see how they train, the new recruits, the serving personnel. She got to see firsthand the varied roles that the military play day in and day out. She looked like you can't look at this and not realize that she was just having so much fun. This is going to come out saying wrong, but take it the way I mean it. She could have fun at a funeral. All right, moving on. Now it's time to look forward to some of the stories that have come out since I took my day off. Sorry, you guys. Apparently, the United States isn't liking Meghan and Harry too much. Their popularity is plummeting hand over fist. Of course, there was a poll done, and the poll clearly shows that United States is over them. We can spot grifters. All right, moving on. And while their popularity is going in the United States, Britons are now rejecting prince and princess titles for Lilibet and Archie. They're saying that they have no connection to Britain. They don't live there. They'll likely never live there. The children deserve no special treatment, even after Charles becomes king. Now, per tradition and the rule laid out by King George V, the grandchildren of the monarch are eligible for those titles. Doesn't mean they automatically get them. Several people have said, they automatically get them. No, they don't. We all heard that Harry and Meghan didn't want their children to have titles, but let's be honest, what Harry and Meghan wanted was the prince and princess titles. That's why they rejected everything else. Meghan said in the Oprah interview she wanted her children treated like all the other grandchildren. They all had prince and princess titles. She never understood that Harry was never going to be king. Anyway, the kids live in California. They have no connection to Britain. The royal family have no need for British royal titles out of the country. They're never going to be senior royals, and they're unlikely to ever be spending much of their time in Britain. So the British people are telling Harry and Meghan no, and they're telling Charles you can't do it. So I hope they're not holding their breath. All right, it's being reported now that Harry and Meghan are still recovering from what happened to them in the UK. How they could not understand what was going to happen is beyond me. I think the yes people around them aren't telling them the truth about what the public is thinking. You know what I'm saying? Now, I've said this before. Harry needs to apologize if he wants to fix the problem with his family, because we already know that the Spotify deal is probably not going to happen anymore. The Netflix deal is barely hanging on. Nobody else in their right mind would touch them after watching this train wreck in slow motion. And I've said before, Harry created the problem. Harry should apologize. But if he does, it'll kill his fan base. So he'll never will. Yeah. And with that, the stories are coming out that they were never good friends anyway. I think we all pretty much know that's a complete lie and a clickbait article. Now, the stories came out that Kate called Harry and asked him to acknowledge William's birthday, but we all know what happened, don't we? Harry ignored William's birthday. He said nothing. He didn't put anything on Archewell. He didn't send him a text, an email. Nothing. And Catherine was really upset, and why shouldn't she be? Because she knows that it really hurt William. And let's be very honest, if it had been reversed, if Harry's birthday came and William didn't post something, the Sussex squad would be all over that. And of course, now the PR push articles are coming out from the Sussex camp because they want to be invited to the 40th birthday party, because that's a PR opportunity and it's another opportunity to take pictures with the family, and it'll be private so they don't have to worry about being booed. So of course they want to be invited. Kate wants Prince Harry to come. You see my point? Yeah, that's not going to happen either. I guarantee you they will not be invited. All right, now we're going to discuss something that we've talked about several times before. We know that when William and Catherine went to Jamaica, they were treated quite badly. The comments made in front of them so that they weren't able to, say anything back because the cameras were there. And then the whole thing came out. We're going to dump the royal family. We're going to become a republic. And I've told you guys before, they've been talking about doing this for the last 50 years, but they haven't done it, right? Okay, so the comments came out, that's what they were going to do. And then the comments came out that Jamaica was postponing the bid because they wanted to put somebody up for the position of Commonwealth Secretary. They didn't get it. So I guess now they're going to start talking in a few years again about becoming a republic. God. By the way, because of their behavior towards Catherine and William, my husband and I were looking at a vacation recently, and Jamaica was suggested. And I said, nope, I won't spend one dime there. All right, moving on. Moving on, do you guys remember when just the other day I told you that Michelle and Barack Obama have moved over to Amazon Audible and all the money that they were getting? Well, now Harry and Meghan are rethinking their Spotify deal. I think they're insane if they think for 1 second that Amazon would give them a deal after what happened with Spotify and Netflix. I think it's pretty obvious that Spotify is going to drop them. It's not that, of course, they're going to put a spin on it that they're dropping Spotify, but I think we all know at this point what's really going on. Good luck trying to get that Amazon deal. Moving on, Prince Harry is apparently claiming that Kate Middleton is a prisoner at Kensington Palace. If you can believe this one, there was an article put out, and a royal expert and author named Ingrid Seward said that the move to Adelaide College is going to give Kate and her family more freedom because she said the Duchess can't really do things like walk in the park. And by the way, thank you to Remoulade Sauce for that information. Next up, we have Princess Anne, who went to the Brompton Cemetery. It's a royal park, and apparently there were some beautiful graves and memorials on the site, and they toured Anne around to look at them. Very nice. I like to do that sometimes, go look at interesting graves. All right, next up, the Daily Beast put out an article that caught my attention. It says if Prince William wants to fix homelessness, the environment, and recraft the monarchy, if he can't resolve the angry dispute with his brother, will anyone take him seriously? Well, first of all, he didn't start the dispute with his brother. His brother started it, so it's really up to his brother to fix it. But what really caught me was this comment. Countess Commonwealth made the comment that Meghan wants to fix paid family leave, gun violence, and be Harry's wife. But if she can't resolve the angry dispute with her father, half-sister, half-brother, countless friends, and Lizzie Cundy, who's going to take her seriously? Spot on. All right, this next article came out that says Harry never makes a decision without consulting Diana's spirit first. That's how he maintains his close relationship with his dead mother. Well, seeing as how he sees his wife as his dead mother incarnate, that would probably explain why he can't do anything without discussing everything with Meghan's first and getting her permission. Ugh, disgusting. All right, one more story about them before we move on to Charles. We know that Meghan flew to Uvalde on a private jet. She brought Netflix people with her. And if they weren't Netflix, which Netflix is saying those weren't our cameras, okay, fine. She still brought a camera crew, security. She made a big scene, walking up, putting down her flowers, walking back and forth, making sure that there were plenty of shots taken of her before she piled into her gas-guzzling SUV and drove off, and of course flew home the same day, on another private jet. So this article came out, Meghan Markle's phone call meant so much to my family. So how many people were killed in that shooting? How many children were killed? There were 19 children and 2 teachers killed. She called one family and then made sure that the family released the information about the phone call. And this article is such clickbait because one of the things it says is, without any fanfare, she made an unannounced visit to Uvalde to pay her respects. And then, of course, it talks about the clothing she was wearing because, of course, we have to merch while we're there as well. So just to point out, the only other person in the entire world who flew in there after this tragedy was Matthew McConaughey, who grew up there and whose mother taught there. Nobody else felt the need to put on such a display. Horrible. All right, let's move on now. One more bit of information. Meghan Markle's request to dismiss the lawsuit that was filed by her sister was denied. This is going to court. The only way that this will not go to court, the only way, is if Meghan Markle pays her sister off and settles the case. I'm praying Samantha doesn't settle. I think this should all be out in the open, and I think it should be videoed, like the Amber Heard trial was. All right. Moving on to Charles and Camilla. First of all, we want to congratulate Charles. The Rotary awarded its highest recognition to him for his dedication to sustainability and biodiversity. Charles himself said that, quote, restoring natural capital and accelerating nature-based solutions will be vital to tackling climate change. Congratulations, Charles. Okay, I really hope I'm saying this correctly. The next morning, President Kagame joined Charles and other leaders from the Commonwealth in an arena for the Commonwealth Business Forum Heads of Government and CEOs Roundtable. Yes, this is how real business gets done. Okay, the night before, Charles and Camilla hosted a dinner. And as you can see, Camilla is wearing her Order of the Garter. That's the first time she's had that on. Watch this. She looks lovely in that color blue, and I think she's doing a great job. All right, moving on. Now, this dinner was to end their time in Rwanda, and it was for all the leaders of the Commonwealth. I have to say, it looks from the photos like it was a very, very successful dinner. And here's some interesting things. Here's the table that was set up. I hope I'll say this correctly. The napkins were produced by the Niramambo Women's Center, which is an area that provides training and education for women in need. And the mats at the table center had the meeting colors and were made by the women from the Mayanje Reconciliation Village. Ooh, that's a mouthful. The centerpieces are traditional Rwandese woven baskets known as peace baskets. They're woven by the Irabi women using eco-friendly raw material like long grass from the swamps, things like that. Pretty cool. All right, you guys. I know this was a super long video, but I was doing 2 days worth of news. So, all right. Let me know what you think. You know, I'm reading those comments, obviously, from the beginning. So leave the comments below. Don't forget to double check and make sure you're still subscribed. And if you're not, hit the subscribe button, okay? Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter, Getter, Rumble. You can email me. For those who have donated through the thanks button and through my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.